Next, I'd like you to join me in welcoming Sherece West. She is the president of Winthrop Rockefeller, and she's going to talk to us about education. So, welcome to the stage. Let me get out of your way.
I made my first visit to Blauville, which is in Mississippi County, Arkansas, in 2008. I was newly appointed president and CEO of the Winthrop Rockefeller Foundation, and not being from Arkansas, I set about learning as much as I could about my state, meeting as many people as I could, and visiting as many places as I could. And during my tour, my listening tour, people kept telling me I had to meet Sam Scruggs. Sam Scruggs. Have you met Sam Scruggs? Do you know Sam Scruggs? Have you met Sam Scruggs? Girl, you got to meet Sam Scruggs. I was like, well, I want to be in the know. Who is Sam Scruggs? So I knew I had to meet this man. And he is the handsome fellow you see in the middle there. Sam Scruggs is the executive director of the Mississippi County, Arkansas Economic Opportunity Commission. And we call it MACO. We name it MACO after Maceo Parker, who was the other handsome fella with the saxophone there. And I'll talk a bit more about music and jazz and how that relates to Maceo in a second. Like most economic opportunity commissions, Maceo's mission is to alleviate poverty by helping families, by providing housing assistance, education assistance, by providing food assistance, adult training, adult ed, and the like. And so off to Blauville, Arkansas, I went to meet Sam. Upon meeting Sam, I was immediately struck by his warmth and his generous spirit and how much he loves East Arkansas and its residents. And it is so clear when you meet him. He has a deep, deep conviction that the young people in Blauville have a bright, bright future. I mean, that you just know it immediately. And Blauville is quite challenging to work in. I mean, they got a lot of challenges, y'all. The poverty rate is 25.5%. That means 1 in 4 residents in Blauville is in poverty. And it was ranked one of the most violent cities in all of the state of Arkansas. So that's a pretty challenging place to work in. But Sam is that kind of leader that when you meet him, you know he can bring residents together and transform Mississippi County into absolute paradise. And his vision and mission and his passion was so contagious, I wanted WRF to support it. So while talking with Sam and the community members there during one of my visits, it became pretty obvious that they really wanted to do more for the young people in the community. They talked with me about young people between the ages of 18 and 35. So if you're over 35 living in Blauville, you're not a young person, just so you're clear. Between 18 and 35, who were, in their words, languishing. They estimated that around 6,000 young people, nearly half of Blauville's population, wasn't working, wasn't in school, wasn't seeking employment. And they wanted to know why. They wanted to know what they could do about that. And so our first grant to Maceo was to fund community-based participatory research so that they can learn what was going on with the young people. They wanted to know how their community's youth, their community's future, what they can do to support them. So they recruited and trained young people to do surveys. They paid them stipends, they equipped them with tablets that had the survey on it, and they sent them out to ask their peers what could their community do to support them. And when they came back with the data, the findings from that survey, or sets of surveys, was absolutely unsettling. For one, none of the youth wanted to pursue a career in any of the jobs available in the community. Similarly, they just weren't that interested in any of the job training programs because they didn't think it was going to prepare them for anything they wanted to do. So I bet right now some of y'all think I know what y'all are thinking. Them darn millennials. There they go again. But before you think that, let me tell you the most unsettling result. The data showed that the young people overwhelmingly didn't believe anyone in the community cared about them or their future. They didn't think anyone cared. The data show that for those young people who were seeking work, putting themselves out there again and again and again, that they felt discouraged, that they were being discriminated against, that they didn't feel worthy, that they didn't feel hireable. Imagine being a young person living in Blauville feeling that way. But the data also showed there was an opportunity. The opportunity is that these young people had ambition. These young people had dreams. They just needed support. They just needed opportunity to make those dreams reality. The folks at Maceo, they did not throw up their hands and go, them darn millennials, there they go again. They didn't do that. Instead, they took action. They came together, they took action, they began mapping out a plan, a strategy, they began implementing that plan. With support from the Winthrop Rockefeller Foundation, they came together and created a 2-generation strategy, 2Gen for short. For them, their goal was to increase parents' employment and education while improving the well-being of their children and the whole family. The 2Gen approach is an approach that looks at the needs or supports the needs of the entire family, parents and their children. Think about it. Could you or your children succeed if your work or work hours were erratic and food and money were constant challenges? Do you believe that your kids would be able to succeed knowing that they were homeless or on the brink of becoming homeless? Would you be able to do well at work? Or do you believe your kids would be able to do well in school, knowing that you and your spouse or your significant other couldn't make ends meet? The 2Gen approach is an intentional approach. It challenges government, nonprofits, and the civic sector to provide services and supports that meet the needs of the entire family through education and employment. 2Gen recognizes to reduce poverty in communities, it is not enough to focus on individuals. Services and supports must provide for the needs of the entire family. So Sam and his team, they got to work. One of the things they did to do 2Gen was they integrated all of their programs at Maceo. They integrated their adult training and education program, their housing food assistance program, their energy assistance program, their early child care program. They integrated all of that. So they changed how they did their work, they changed their practices. To make sure that the 2Gen approach permeates the entire county, Sam and his nonprofit partners developed a common interagency form that is used throughout the county to maintain data on families. Perhaps most important, Sam has made 2Gen a part of the culture at Maceo. He trains his team constantly, consistently, that when an individual comes into their office, that individual represents a family. And so they look at that individual as a family and not as just a person. They know that when someone comes in their office and sits across from them, that the success of that person in that chair across from them is vital to the success of that family, of that person's entire family. So let me tell you how they work with a family in Blauville. Nicholas, Lisa, and Gabriel. Nicholas and Lisa were basically homeless, living in Blauville, living with Lisa's parents. So if any of you have kids at home, they're homeless by that definition, just throw that out there. But they were basically homeless living in Blauville. And they enrolled their 3-year-old son most immediately in the Maceo Early Child Care Program. Maceo was intricately involved in all that this family did. So again, describing how they changed their services. Lisa and Nicholas became involved in Gabriel's education. Nicholas got inspired to get involved in more community activities. And in getting involved in more community activities, he eventually became chair of the Policy Council at Maceo. His wife, Lisa, in the meantime, received her LPN, her licensed practical nursing certification with Maceo support. Now, here's another thing that happened. They enrolled in Maceo's Individual Development Account Program, their IDA program, which enabled them to build assets. Maceo has a 3-to-1 match. So Lisa and Nicholas were able to save $4,000 to purchase a fixer-upper in Blauville. And they worked on that fixer-upper for over a year and a half. So Lisa and Nicholas are proud homeowners, no longer living in Mama Basement. They're proud homeowners in the city of Blauville. Nicholas, and I failed to mention that Nicholas's leadership when he was working with the Policy Council and with the community activities, that he actually became an entrepreneur. He became a Spanish translator. So he's self-employed as a Spanish translator. So now he wants to pursue his BA in business while continuing to work as a Spanish translator. Lisa, who has her LPN, is planning to enroll in a registered nursing program. And Gabriel, who is now 5 years old and cute as can be, is a kindergartner who is doing exceedingly well. This is how 2Gen transforms a family. This is how 2Gen works and transforms a family. And keep in mind, they were doing this 8 years ago, before 2Gen became hip, before we even knew what it was or before it had a name. And I'm proud to say that the Winthrop Rockefeller Foundation and LISC has supported Maceo in its 2Gen journey. And we weren't the only ones who saw the brilliance there. Last year, in September 2015, Maceo and Sam were recognized by the White House Rural Council. Maceo and Mississippi County has been designated a rural impact demonstration site. So now Sam and Maceo are shaping policies, best practices, and models in the 2Gen strategy in rural communities for the entire country. So yes, I'm proud. Girl, I ain't done. I got 3 more minutes.
Keep on.
So yes, we are very proud. So Sam, in his work, we are just so excited about the work that he does there, and wanted to say also that for Sam and what they do, it is like what we call like Maceo Parker and jazz, right? So to do this kind of work, you need to have vision, you need to have dogged determination, you need creativity, you need to just have love for your community. So like any great jazz musician who has love for the music, you have to have love for your community. And with this, Sam has that love for his community. And that's what we all need in this room. We need that dogged determination to create a strategy that works. Sam knew that this 2Gen approach was the necessary approach to increase prosperity in Mississippi County. We all need that belief that we heard Juan talk about before, that belief that we can make this kind of change in our communities. So in essence, we all need a Sam Scruggs. Thank you.
Sherece, I was just so anxious to get my question out. I had to jump up on the stage.
No, it's fine, it's fine.
It's great work.
Thank you.
So I'm going to start with a question while you guys are formulating yours. So I'm wondering, is there a different approach that we have to consider when we think about the 2Gen model when we're in rural versus urban?
Well, it's not a different approach, but it's a different mindset. One of the things that people ask is, this is co-locating services. Co-locating services is what got us into not being effective in the first place. This is actually a mindset to look at an entire family and be able to provide for all of the needs of the family. So you have to change your culture, you have to change your mindset, and then you have to work through all of what you do offer to be able to take an entire family approach. It's not as easy as it sounds, but it took them a while to get there, but they are there.
Sounds right. Who else wants to talk to Sherece? Let's get a question out here. Let's get the mic over. Okay, it's coming at you.
Hello, I'm Sherece. I'm Jerry Rickett with Kentucky Highlands. We're leading the first rural promise zone in central Appalachia. My question is, how does the Winthrop Rockefeller Foundation support organizations that are trying to think creatively about regional anti-poverty work, more than one county?
Sure. And so we actually are pro-regionalism, although some of our counties aren't pro-regionalism. And again, because we need to pool resources and think through these strategies, you know, we have families who are crossing the lines in the region for work, employment, family, and the like, and we are all in this together. And that may sound pie in the sky, but it's actually the truth. So for the foundation, we do our best to promote regionalism and working together and eliminating inefficiencies. But it's easier said than done. And again, it's our nonprofits that we work very hard with, letting them know that we are pro working in a region as a foundation. But you know, again, we're not seeing as much of it as I would like to see in Arkansas. And we've tried, especially in the Delta. You know, the upper Delta, the lower Delta, so even, right, you got issues right there, right, because you're upper and lower, right? So already you got drama. East side, west side, you know, already you got drama. But yeah, there are ways in which we can pool resources, ways in which we can use our federal and state dollars more efficiently and effectively, but it's not happening as much as I'd like it to.
And we have another social media question.
Go ahead.
This is from Liz Coleman McKenna in New Jersey. Do you find resistance among parents who are reluctant to accept help or support in the two-gen approach?
So far, in terms of working with, we actually have 3 organizations that are doing this. Single Parent Scholarship Fund, which is what it says. It's providing scholarships to single parents to continue their education. Our House, which is a comprehensive shelter that provides services, again, from early child care to employment to so many, and then, of course, Maceo. So far in working with those grantees, we have not seen any resistance to this at all. Because, again, it's a way in which your entire family is considered in all of this. So in the case of the family that I described, and again, for confidentiality, I can't tell you what their last name is, but for the case there, putting the young person, putting Gabriel in early child care, and then enabling Lisa and Nicholas to get involved in his education. And then once they saw that Nicholas was interested in doing more community work, they immediately began grooming him for leadership. And that leadership led him to get the confidence he needed to become an entrepreneur. So once it gets rolling, it's the right thing and the right way to work. And most families want to work in that comprehensive way. They don't want to go here for this or there for that. They want to know that there's an agency or a group of folks that are teaming and in that team care about them and their future.
Other questions? Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Amanda Tim with Houston LISC, and it's really exciting to hear what you're doing. Can you talk a little bit about any data you may have about the return on investment in investing in a family in that holistic way? And have you done any modeling to compare what if you hadn't done that for that family?
Absolutely. So keep in mind, at the foundation, I'm going to answer it different at the foundation than I would if I were at Maceo. For us to make an investment in Our House Single Parent Scholarship Fund in Maceo, that investment of, in Maceo's case, we actually invested well over $100,000. I'm sure it's more than that over the years that we've invested. But let's just say, because I'm not a good mathematician, $100,000. Big, you know. When you invest in that way and you're investing in the team and learning this approach, then you're leveraging all of the money that goes to early child care programs, all the money that goes to the energy assistance, the housing assistance, and the like. So it leverages WRF's dollars to be able to provide these kind of comprehensive services and this kind of comprehensive approach to a family. And so it's important because I want you to understand, as a funder, I'm not necessarily responsible for the dollars for that family, but I'm responsible for the dollars that are leveraged for our foundation. And thus, this is an excellent return on investment, because it means that we're co-funding with state, local government, and other agencies in that area. Now, for Maceo Single Parent Scholarship Fund and the like, the data for them, especially when we talk with the folks at Our House, it's again, they receive our monies, but then they look at how their dollars, how their dollars work to enable a family to get this kind of team approach. And so I do not have whether it's a 7-to-1 or a 3-to-1 ratio, but it is happening.
Sherece, thank you.
Thank
you
you
for
so
all
much.
the work that you do.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.